everyone, and welcome to this edition of Digital Tutors Archicad 18 template creation. So this is one of the more critical lessons because we talk about favorites, and favorites are one of the most important aspects to being very efficient within your projects. So if you go to palettes, and then you can drop down the favorites. So within the Archicad template as it comes out, you have, pretty vast array of favorites. So what a favorite is when you go into an element, you have all these different settings. You have the thickness, the type, the reference plane, the edge conditions, the weight, the fill, the override surfaces, or surfaces themselves. You also have the listing and labeling. So what is that element? Is it load bearing? Where is it located? All these different things represent kind of the heart of parametric technology, where you have an element that is able to adjust kind of its parameters and then be represented infinitely throughout a project. So within this, say you've come up with a great slab. Let's say it's like a 3-foot thick slab and it's off the ground by 0, and let's just make it some crazy line type. And so say you have this, and so there is the slab. Let's just make it so it's clear. Okay, so there it is. There's the slab. This is the best slab ever. Now I'm going to use it multiple times. So typically what I would have to do is, if I change these settings, if I change them, these two are not alike anymore, right? But what if I really wanted this element or this slab or whatever to propagate itself throughout the project? But I didn't, and I was making multiple different slabs. So I have 2-foot slab like that, and I have 3-foot slabs. So 3-foot slabs. So maybe I have 3-foot slabs all the way around the project or something of that nature. But regardless, I can go in here and I can say save current view, and I'll say, oh, this is the 3-foot slab. And once I say okay, so let's just take this element and let's just make this something crazy. So here it is. Let's make it like this. Okay, there's that one condition. So if I go here and I absorb and inject it, that one changes. But if I go over here and say, so what I did is I highlighted it or selected it and then pushed my option keyboard or key, and there it is, 3-foot slab. Oh, let me just go back to that. Now what it did, let me go back one. So that's the original or the change version. This is what I want it to be. I just double click on that. So now if I go over here and I say, you know what, this should actually be the type of slab that I'm going to be using. So I can go here and click on the 3-foot slab, redefine with current as default. So now the 3-foot slab is this. And if I went through and said, you know what, all these guys need to be this new 3-foot slab, they all changed together. I guess the one thing that could be adjusted is the fact that this, when I go back, these were already that that favorite. So, in theory, they could have stuck to that favorite regardless of what their physical properties are. So that's favorites. So really, when you get to a point comfortable with your line types, your, basically anything that's in here should be set up. So once that's all set up, and you pick some furniture, and you're like, okay, this is the exact piece of furniture, but I need to make some changes. So let's just make those changes. And let's say it's whatever material. Let's give it a dual visibility. Okay, so that's what I want. So if that's what I want, and I'm going to use that for 5 different projects, it's best to kind of create that solution. So now I'm going to save this current view, and I'm just going to say it's some casework, and there's the casework, and now I can use that anywhere. But before I can use it anywhere, I need to save it. So I can just save this as a preference file. We'll call it Digital Tutors favorites. How about that? Just make it clear. And then I export that file. Another interesting thing is that within the favorites, so say I am, well, you really need to create the favorite. But again, if you've already saved your favorites, you've created it, you can open it, you can replace basically all the favorites that were in there before that might have gotten overwritten. And then one other thing is the favorite preferences, which allows you to manipulate some of the parameters within your favorite, so that you can exclude certain pieces of that element or object. So I don't know if I can stress to you the importance of having favorites, but it is really important, because once you start working on a project and you need to quickly create something, you should be able to go into a new project, create what you want using the favorites that you've already established and that have your line weights and different settings already created, to easily create new information without a lot of backtracking. So that's basically it for favorites. Make them, save them, put them in a separate file, and you should really be able to fly through your, definitely through a lot of your initial project generation and creation phases. Okay, thanks for watching.